but I appreciate you. I really, really do. I appreciate you for locking in with me. Like, you a real one. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real, for real. Like, I hope your days are just getting better and easier and lighter. You know what I'm saying? I hope you really are just taking it in. You know what I'm saying? Appreciating everything about yourself, appreciating everything about how far you've come, you know? Like, don't forget about where you was at, okay? Don't forget about how like what you done came from. Like, just keep, just keep going type shit. But anyway, that spidey sense. Ooh, my left ear is ringing. Okay, all right. That spidey sense. When that shit go off, when that hair raise up, Spider Man don't hesitate. He springs into action. You know what I'm saying? He gets to it. Like, he don't wait. He don't, because he knows that he's the only one that can handle this. He knows that what's being asked of him, you know what I'm saying, what's required. He knows his abilities, you know, because of his sensitivity, because of his body's ability to let him know what's going on, right? He's able to carry out his mission. That's you know, that's what he do. You know what I'm saying? He's his mission is bigger than him. He's helping, he's saving lives. Okay. Right. So I guess what I want to talk about is how, you know, fear, let's use fear as a spidey sense instead. Okay. Um because with Spider-Man, his spidey sense, like, it doesn't put him into fight or flight. It puts him in a fight. You know what I'm saying? It puts him into protection mode. So if I'm thinking about certain fears, and then I had to break it down, because I'm like, what are the types of fears? Because there's rational fears, instinctual fears, and then there's irrational fears, phobias, and anxieties. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm leaning toward, social, emotional fears, that are essentially tied, or can be irrational. But then how that all ties into instinct, how it ties into, like, biological, what did I put? Yes, biological pretty much survival, right? Protecting your body, your being, your physical being. Um, but what about, like, mental and emotional protection, right? So, because those rational fears, death, being injured, you know what I'm saying, being confined, like, those fears are rational. But like I said before, fear of rejection, fear of, and that is actually, considered instinctual. But I feel like when those fears lie in social and emotional, it becomes irrational. when your fear of abandonment, your fear of shame is rooted in outside validation, when it's rooted in social status or approval, I believe that it then becomes irrational. It's like made up, it's like what you've created for yourself, you know, as protection, but it's actually stifling your ability to navigate discomfort. Okay, so I wrote like discomfort is not confirmation. Like when I gave the example of leaving a job, leaving a relationship, and sitting and accepting that discomfort, that's like not the end all be all, because that's where the fear and avoidance comes into play, right? When you're avoiding, because all I'm thinking about is the aftermath. All I'm thinking about is that what I don't want to feel, right? Which is also rooted outside of yourself, I believe sometimes, because if your fear of not having money is because you can't keep up appearances, you know what I'm saying? If your fear of leaving the relationship is because you can't keep up appearances, then you know what I'm saying? It to me, it's that self-abandonment, you know what I mean? And that's what we're steering clear of, we're learning how to self-validate, we're learning how to self-soothe, to take care of ourselves, to take care of our spiritual being, our innate, you know what I mean, our nature, our inner child, you know what I'm saying, the kingdom, you know what I'm saying, like that God nature, we're protecting that, right? And so in order to protect that, we have to allow discomfort to exist so that we can navigate it. Discomfort is not confirmation. Discomfort is not the end of your story. You know what I mean? Oftentimes we don't think about how, because it's like, if I leave this job, I'm gonna have to find another one, and like, boom, boom, boom. And it's like you psych yourself out of doing what you know you need to do. So you're just gonna ignore yourself, essentially. You're gonna ignore what it is that you know you need to do. You're gonna ignore God telling you. You're gonna ignore God putting people in your life to tell you. You know what I'm saying? You're working against yourself. You're working against yourself, and that's got to be exhausting. You know what I mean? It's got to be exhausting. It's got to be, unfulfilling. And that's why we oftentimes, because we're uncomfortable and we're avoiding navigating the discomfort, we compare ourselves, and we disassociate. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we, through social media, through watching other people's lives and what we wish we had, and you know what I mean? And as if that's far-fetched, as if it's impossible, as if, we are incapable of of overcoming the fear. overcoming the discomfort. Because if you want to put it like in perspective, like what's 6 months of discomfort for a lifetime of freedom? You know what I mean? What is 4 years of discomfort for a fucking degree? You know what I mean, that you can carry? What's 4 more years of discomfort for mastery? You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you kind of have to reframe it in your mind. You know what I mean? Like get in the habit of reframing and changing the narrative to where it works for you. You don't have to believe what everybody else believes about the thing. You know what I mean? Because obviously you're being given a different perspective or a different little inkling, a little nudge, that's unique to you, and you can't ignore that. You can't. Now, if you want to live a fulfilling life and you know what I'm saying? Because some people are satisfied in their misery and okay, boom, move around. You know what I'm saying? Just stop fucking talking to us about it. You know what I'm saying? But this is for the people that know it's something. It's something here. And in order for you to truly get to the root, you have to be able to use discomfort as a test. Okay? So shifting, our mindset on fear, and I'm talking about the irrational fear. I'm talking about the irrational fears that we have conditioned ourselves to believe that simply aren't real. Fears that we can change, we can shift, right? So discomfort is not a confirmation, it is a test. It is an opportunity, it is a challenge, right? Like what are you going to do with this discomfort? Using fear for protection from being a fucking loser. Okay? Because over here on this side, we're stars. Okay? We are. We the new celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna just if that fits you, then you're in the right place. Okay? And if not, I hate it for you, honestly. But what it is I don't want to be a fucking loser. I don't want to be overlooked. I don't want to be, you know what I mean? Underwhelming, like, you know what I mean? Or just basic, mediocre, just doing what everybody else is doing and caring about shit that has nothing to do with me and making people feel like I give a fuck about. Bleh. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live my life like that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to put that on my kids. Like I just, I want to take the road less traveled. You know what I mean? Like I'm all about, there's this really cute, really good animated cartoon movie called Onward. Came out a few years ago. And it's so cute, it's so good. And in that movie, like I was like taking notes, like but pretty much there's a message in there just about, the obvious path, the clear path is like it's always a setup. It's a trick. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it's like when they took that path, they just like kept running into things and like, and it's like you have to take the road less traveled. The road less traveled, the least resistance. You know what I mean? Because like I just can't fall in line. You know what I'm saying? If you resonate with that, you know what I mean? Like I just can't. So here I am trying to figure out what fear means to me and how I can use it to my advantage. You know what I'm saying? And when I say my advantage, it's like what you gonna do with that? How are you going to turn yourself into a whole nother beast? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I'm at in my life. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Phoenix rising from the ashes. Like, baby, I'm emerging. You know what I'm saying? I'm re-emerging. Okay, and one thing about it is everything that I feel is stifling me or holding me back or anything, like I'm breaking that all the way down. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna figure this thing out, and I'm gonna transmute it. Okay, I'm also learning that I'm I'm who you need in your life, baby. You know what I'm saying? That's just what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like we just gonna keep it right there. Um, yeah, I just wanted to because that's the fear thing is like let's if let's focus on the things that we can control. You know what I'm saying? If we can control our mind, if we can control our perception, then we got the upper hand. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with it. You know what I'm saying? Using fear to navigate as a compass. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the things that you're fearful of is like the very thing that you need to be doing. You know what I mean? So it's almost like when I feel myself, you know what I'm saying? When I feel my gut, when that spidey sense go off, oh, it's game time. You know what I'm saying? I'm knowing what's going on, Um example, and I feel like somebody needs to hear this. Somebody can resonate with this. Um I before I had child, before I quit a job a while back, I quit a couple jobs. But I will say in those experiences, like I felt sick to my stomach going to work. And this is like, work is work. Your coworkers, what no matter what you do, work is work, okay? And this is whatever, right? But this was a feeling that unlike any other, you know what I mean? I'm driving to work crying. I'm miserable. I'm like sick to my stomach walking in the building. Like I feel like the building is closing in on me when I'm in there and it just don't feel right. I can't focus. And it's like, I'm so proud of my 20-year old self. Like my 20s, bitch, shaking and baking, okay? Like, and I'm so proud of myself for like acting on it. You know what I mean? And from outside looking in, it's like, girl, you crazy as hell. Just be quitting the job. I'm talking about no, like effective immediately. I'm not coming back in ever. You know what I'm saying? Like type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like because I can't do this. I can't live like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm just so fucking thankful to myself for just acting on those things. Like act on it. Act on it. Trust God. You know what I'm saying? Trust the higher agenda at play. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I don't care what you believe in, bitch. But it's something that's controlling this shit. You can't, I don't care. No, no. You can't convince me otherwise. There is a higher agenda, okay? This shit is bigger than you, okay? It's much bigger than you. So it's just like, get with it or get lost.